One sec. Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burnt his wrist like that.
Yes.
Oh, this is objection pursuit. Yes, okay. But his hand was on a searing hot plate for at least 3 whole seconds. You can't not have noticed that. Do you think so? Let me ask you something. Sorry. Ever since I arrived in this courtroom, and even still now, the fly on those unsightly black trousers of yours have been wide open. You can't not have noticed, can you? Huh? What? Ah! What fun! You hadn't realized? The dear lady is absolutely right. As your friend, you've embarrassed me as well as yourself, Ryunosuke. Why didn't you tell me? Dr. Wilson was a true English gentleman. He chose honorable silence over a vulgar scream. Can your tiny brains not imagine such a thing? Ah, yes! I think my tiny brain can!
Yes.
Fucking simp! Well, I can't. Anyway. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses and toast.
Yes.
As you testified before, you were drinking carbonated water, is that right? Dr. Wilson was only permitted to drink water at the time, if you remember. Which explains why he ordered that drink. Correct, waiter? Exactly as you say, sir. Although... Whether or not the professor actually drank any of the water when I delivered the steak to the table, I'm afraid I don't remember that. Damn you. Ah! I have enough English to understand that, at least. For the benefit of others, of course, it means bless you. I think it means the exact opposite. Anyway. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report shows no other possible cause of death beside the gunshot. Alright, let me look through it again. Time of death shortly after 2 p.m. Cause of death, single bullet fired at close range. Fatal hemorrhage from pectoral ballistic trauma. No exit wound, bullet did not pass through body. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, it's written here in the paperwork. Fatal hemorrhaging from ballistic trauma. Yes. Lucky for us all, a little burn on the wrist isn't going to kill us. And as there were no signs of trauma on the victim's body to indicate some other cause of death, it can only have been the bullet from your gun that put an end to an innocent man's life. But it doesn't make sense. The burn must have happened straight away when the plate was first brought to the table by the waiter. Yes, that's true. If it had cooled even slightly, it wouldn't have been able to make a burn like that. And if the victim burnt his wrist on the hot plate as soon as it was brought out from the kitchen, then he must have already been dead at that point. And yet, the fact that the victim was killed by a gunshot to the chest, until you're able to show the court evidence to disprove this, is a complete waste of time. I concur. Professor Ouchie is right. Prosecutor Ouchie is right. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving trace, please do show me.
Yes.
Without leaving a trace, if someone is shot or strangled or stabbed or thrown from a height, however a person's life is taken, there's always a telltale traces on the body. Quite right, dear lady. And as our police force has thoroughly examined the body of the deceased, there can be no doubt. Isn't that right, Inspector Hosonaga? As I've said, I always aim for a flawless investigation. There'd be physical traces with all those causes of death, it's true. But maybe there's some other way of killing someone that doesn't leave a mark. If, heaven forbid, you doubt me, young man, you're going to have to tell everyone how exactly you think the professor did lose his life. Otherwise, I'm afraid your argument falls rather flat, doesn't it? Oh no, perish the thought calling such a sweet young lady's innocence into question. On my honor, I, Taketsuchi Ouchi, can cut down any who dare such aspirations. Aspersions. Bleh. A way of killing someone that leaves no trace. We need evidence to back it up here. Back us up here. Yes, evidence. But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway.
Yes!
Inferior? What do you mean by that? In the lands of the Great British Empire, the police store everything found at a crime scene for later examination. But in this country, you investigate once, and that's the end of it. Isn't that so? Quite right. Lake Carnival is open for business as usual today, just days after the incident. Exactly, which means even if the investigation takes a different direction. Whoa! Which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost. Am I supposed to turn and press him now? It doesn't even occur to your naive detectives to try and preserve the crime scene. I'm trying to be as tactful as I can, you understand. Haha! A killer blow! The lady is as formidable as she is beautiful. Amazing. He's actually admitting our police is flawed. Perhaps Prosecutor Ouchi is finally starting to see sense. I very much doubt that. Still, there's something about what Miss Press just said. There was a moment before when something didn't seem quite right. Hi, Hosonaga. What do you think, Ryunosuke? I think it's going terribly. No matter how much I press her, I'm not turning up any new information. Yes, as I suspected. She's a tough witness. We need to find a way to break her testimony, or the cross-examination will be over. But that would mean... Show me the mechanic to cross-examine someone else on the stand, please! There must be some clue somewhere to help us find a chink in her armor. Kazuma? What, Ryunosuke? There is one thing I notice. Something that's been bothering me. Bothering you? You mean about Miss Brett? Actually, no. About the person sitting next to her, Inspector Hosonaga. The detective? Yes. He seemed to react a little strangely to Miss Brett's last statement. I was wondering if it might be significant. If it might present an opening, maybe. Alright, I have an idea. Try pressing her on that last statement one more time. If you think so, but this time, instead of targeting the woman herself, let's see if we can get out what we can get out of the detective. Alright then. I'll find out soon enough, I suppose.
Yes!
Inferior, what do you mean?
Wait.
Yes, there it is again. The detective's reaction is just the same as before. Why? Up until now, the detective has been in the stand with Miss Brett as her interpreter. But things are very different now. For this testimony, the detective is just listening to what the Englishwoman has to say. This could be a golden opportunity. What do you mean? When people are actually testifying, they're usually very careful not to let anything slip. However, when they're listening to someone else speak, you'll find they often let their guard down. You're right, look at him, he's lost in his own thoughts. It's time to pursue the man and his train of thought. Pursue that train! Sorry, pursue? I'll explain how to do it now, Ryunosuke. It's all to do with the witness's marker. What marker? At the moment, we're focused on Miss Brett, who's the person making the current statement. But by moving the marker left and right with A and D, you can turn your attention to other people in the stand. While you're looking at other witnesses, you'll be able to pursue them. If you can catch the person at just the right time, you might uncover some new information to pursue. If you ever notice a strange atmosphere amongst the people in the stand, take a good look around. Alright, so first I should move the marker across and focus on the detective. Then pursue him with space.
Wait. Excuse me.
Excuse me? What's the meaning of this? Oh, no, it's poison. The detective is suffering from the poison. He only got a bit of it, though, I bet. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to shock you. He really was lost in his thoughts, deeply. It looks like you were thinking of something just now, Inspector. Perhaps having heard what the lady next to you had to say? If there's something you'd like to say, please, share it with the court. What's the meaning of this? It's the delightful Englishwoman who's testifying at the moment. If you can't find fault with her testimony, then the cross-examination should be over immediately. Oh, is that how it works? Absolutely not. The detective is in the stand, which makes him a valid witness. Yeah. Yes, not to mention the fact he's intimately involved in the case. Inspector Hosonaga. Yes. Do you have something to add in relation to the statement just made by Miss Brett? Baymax, not now. Well, yes, if you don't mind, I would like to speak. The lady is right. Our country's police practices are not as modern as those used in Great Britain. Which is why I, Satoru Hosonaga, always strive to make every investigation I'm involved in flawless. What do you really mean by that? I'll tell you what I mean. I won't have evidence lacking on my watch. I'm not afraid to take everything I can from the scene of the crime. It's preserving evidence, you see. I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief. I'm not ashamed of what I've done. A crime scene thief? Well, it looks like the lady's remarks touched a nerve there. Take this, for example. Oh, got her attention. Is that? This is the bottle of carbonated water that I took to the victim's table on the day in question. And yes, it's lost all its fizz, having been opened 3 days ago now. But it was carbonated. I don't care what anyone says. Yes, there's some left in the bottle. I can see it. One day our police force will be among the best in the world. The time is coming, I guarantee it. I can't say I condone the witness's actions, but I do understand the sentiment. The court will accept the glass bottle of water as evidence. Miss Brett. Can you confirm this is indeed the bottle from which you drank on the day of the victim's death? Yes, it was that bottle. What was that about? She seemed to avert her eyes when she answered. Very well, counsel, you may resume the cross-examination. And the inspector will kindly control his fervor. Ahem. Alright, let's take a look at the bottle. can't find anything out of place. The label's written in a foreign language that I don't recognize. Do you know what it says, Kazuma? I think it's French. It must be very expensive water. Yeah, but what does it say? Then go to France and ask. You could just say that you don't know. Is it going to read the label again or look at the water? So this carbonated water is the last drink Dr. Wilson ever had. It looks like there's a little left in the bottle. Although it's plain water now. You know, I've been sweating so much. I'm absolutely parched. I'll just have a sip of this to keep me going. No, Ryunosuke. You can't do that. For one thing, it's evidence. You can't go drinking evidence. Oh, no, you're right. We don't know what might be inside, do we? You never cease to amaze me, Ryunosuke. In more ways than one. I wonder, could there be anything in this water? What's the matter? You've gone quiet all of a sudden. I think I might have just worked something out. An interesting possibility. Is there anything else to glean from the water? Hello, bottle. I don't think there's anything else for me. Yeah, it's just the water again. Okay. When the waiter brought the steak, the person had raised their glasses and toast. Sorry for the postmortem, she was no cause of death. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken when they're leaving trays, please do show me. I think this is where I present the bottle. I could be wrong, but we're gonna try it.
Yes!
There we go. What is this? The bottle of water? Actually, there's one method of killing a man without leaving a trace that comes to mind. Obviously, I'm referring to poison. But poison? On the day of his death, we know Dr. Wilson drank from this bottle of carbonated water. Could it be that there was poison inside? Oh! that got our inspector's attention. Could it be that the professor actually died after taking a sip from his glass? Order, order, order! And on that day, who was sitting at the same table as the professor and able to slip the poison into his drink? There's only one person I could possibly have done. Who could have possibly done it? Jezziel Brett, it was you!
Objection!
This is outrageous! This is just such a thing without a scrap of evidence. You little rookie imbecile! Have you ever considered the delicate situation our country finds itself in now? Have you forgotten that we have just signed an accord of friendship with the British Empire? Have you forgotten the vaguest inkling Have you even the vaguest inkling that your rash accusations could jeopardize the entire treaty? This is not a political arena. This is a trial to determine one individual's guilt with respect to one crime. What? The fact that this woman is British makes no difference. We're here to determine the truth. If I may? I will silence you forever. This is disgraceful. Oh, that was great. It is you who should be silent. Of course. Dear lady! Where did that come from? She just snapped. I'm afraid I may have spoken unfairly before. I offer my humble apologies. I'm sorry, my lady. To what are you referring? I describe your police force as inferior. But no matter how inferior they may be, you still investigated this particular point thoroughly, I believe. The bottle, I mean, Inspector. And whether it contained poison or not. Of course. You did? Have you forgotten what my guiding principle is already? I strive for a flawless investigation every time. I don't believe it. Naturally, we tested the inside of the bottle and its contents. And? What did you find, Inspector? I ordered a test for every toxin that's available. Oh, no. It was... Yeah, no, so it was in the glass. That's why she took the glass. Come on. Keep up. We could find no traces of poison of any description in the bottled carbonated water, Excellency. What? Are you sure? The tests were meticulously carried out by the chief coroner himself. No, no! I'm very grateful to all of you Japanese. You've successfully established my complete innocence in this horrid affair. Thank you. But of course, dear lady, the pleasure was all ours. I was so sure. This can't be right. Everything falls into place as if he was poisoned. Thank you, counsel. I think that cross-examination has clarified everything. As the prosecution has asserted, a shot to the chest from this gun is the only conceivable cause of death. Furthermore, the accused, who is by his own admission was holding the weapon, is the only possible culprit. I'm done for. The court wishes to apologize for the inconvenience that has been caused. This has caused you, Miss Brett. Oh no, I'm just glad the matter is resolved. Before proceeding, I must ask the counsel for the defense. Do you have any further new evidence to present the court at this point? Give me one quick second. I really need some more water. I am all out. Hi, baby. Alright, I'm back. I have water. Oh, okay. Do you have any further new evidence to present to the court at this time? Yep. Kazuma? I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. I have nothing more. Well, if you'll excuse me now, I really must be leaving. Give me that, hold it. There we go. Please wait. Yep, she's back with what she was sent to go grab. I bet you it's the glass. Or the purse with the glass in it. I bet you. Isn't that? What's the meaning of this? Forgive me for intruding on court proceedings, Your Excellency. Susato Mikotoba, Judicial Assistant to the Defense. Mikotoba? In my darkest hour, with nowhere left to go, she appeared like a bolt of lightning. And in her hand, she carried a small package wrapped in a furoshiki cloth. To be wow, this one's going a good length. This is pretty long for our first trial. I didn't say I was stopping though. I am, however, going to turn on my oven, just get separate prepped, so give me 1 second, and we are gonna keep going. Wait, why? I don't know why I'm pressing that button. I have a whole coming back thing. Goodness. There we go. Okay. Why would it do that? Okay. "1:14 p.m. Supreme Court. Well, I understand you are the judicial assistant to the defense, but why the sudden ingress into my courtroom?" Ha! A judicial assistant and a woman, no less. Oh, fucking, we're playing that card. "The rules state that females are not permitted into this court of law other than to testify." Yes, I fully understand. I ask only for 5 minutes of time. I have some vital evidence that I must hand over to the defense. Ha! You're too late, little girl. This trial has already been concluded. 5 minutes. I will not allow a moment more. But, Your Excellency! I am most grateful. It's getting hot back here. Oh boy. Being an attorney's got positives. Look at these snacks I got with me. Who exactly are you? I'm sorry, there's no time. Please, simply accept this for now. A report about something written in English. It's Jaziel Brett's research. The Englishwoman's? After the trial resumed earlier, I hurried back to the university. I went to Dr. Wilson's laboratory in the medical facility and borrowed this paper. Ah, yes, that's right. Miss Brett was studying under the professor, wasn't she? So, does this research, whatever it is, have something to do with the case? I'm afraid I don't know. I haven't been able to listen to the proceedings of the trial myself. Oh, no, of course not. Special characteristics of curare and its effects on human subjects. Interesting. Curare? What's that? I've never heard that word before. Time's up! The prosecution demands the immediate removal of this female trespasser from the courtroom. There was too little time for me to read it in detail, but I've summarized what I could on a note just inside the cover. If you think it could be valuable, please cast your eyes over it. This is wonderful, thank you. Goodbye then, and good luck. You've had long enough, counsel. We cannot detain our English guests any longer. Okay, let's take a look at this shit. Synopsis. A poison made from the bark of certain trees in the jungles of South America. The hunters of the region have used it since ancient times to incapacitate their prey. Oh! So he wasn't dead by the poison, but it's also why he didn't move. And the gunshot did kill him, but he was paralyzed and couldn't do anything. Instant paralysis of the entire body and subsequent death, even in minute doses. I mean, he could either way, yeah. Route of entry. The above-mentioned effects occur when the poison enters the blood stream through a wound, such as that inflicted by a blowpipe dart. What? Due to its ability to render the human body paralytic, it's believed that the toxin could have applications as an anesthetic. However, a solution for the respiratory arrest caused as a result of the full body paralysis must first be found, or patients would die of suffocation. Oh, that is horrifying! And perfect for this fucking game. I ask the prosecution and the defense now one last time. Does either side have any further evidence to present to the court? I presume not, but... The prosecution has made its case convincingly enough already. Nothing more to add, Your Excellency. Ryunosuke, we're out of options here. This really is our very last chance. Yeah, I know. Your Excellency, the defense does have new evidence. That look. The unyielding stare of a true Japanese warrior. Well, Miss Brett? Yes, Your Excellency. If you wouldn't mind, perhaps you could grace us with your presence a little longer. It's a delightful invitation, but I'm afraid it's not very long until tea time. I'll have to politely decline. Forgive me, Miss Brett. It seems I wasn't clear. I realize it was phrased as a question. However, I must ask that you treat that as an order. I've said it many times before, but the Japanese language makes no sense. My apologies, dear lady. So, counsel, what is this new evidence that demands the court's attention? So I'm assuming, obviously, they want this. Miss Jezebel Brett, we understand you were studying under Dr. Wilson at Yume University, doing research. Research, by sheer coincidence perhaps, into a deadly poison. What? Poison? Where are you going with this, counsel? A toxin known as curare, Your Excellency. Even the slightest amount of this deadly poison entering the body leads to instant death. What? Complete and utter nonsense! Curare, you say? I've never heard of it! You wouldn't have. What do you mean? I mean that you wouldn't have heard of curare before for one very simple reason. It doesn't exist in our country. It doesn't exist? Correct. Which means, no matter what tests the police can do for toxins, they'd never identify curare. Why? Because there is no test available here that can identify the presence of this highly deadly poison. What? Get fucked now. Also, I'm gonna set a timer to my phone because I am going to be making my dinner and pulling it out of the oven. Timer. Okay, I'll have that ready. Order, order, order! Council, does this deadly poison truly exist? According to this report, authored by the visiting research student from England, curare has long been used by the tribespeople of South America as a poison to lace their arrows. It seems reasonably it seems that it's reasonably well known enough among European doctors and scientists. To lace their arrows? The report states that it is produced from the extract of a tree that grows deep in the Amazonian jungle. And it was first brought back to Europe at the turn of the century by explorers. It claims that animals shot by arrows laced with curare suffer instant death. Doesn't that about sum it up, Miss Brett?
Objection!
Trumpery! These aspirations are utterly trumpery! To start with, if the victim had been administered some of this so-called deadly poison, he would have been squirming and writhing in pain, and the other diners would have surely noticed. That's true. What do you say to that, Inspector? There's a whole paralysis page. I read it. Obviously, I would have noticed a disturbance like that. I don't remember anything like that either. I didn't notice the professor being in any kind of pain. According to this, however, it's the other way around. What do you mean, the other way around? The very fact that the victim didn't show any visible signs of distress is evidence that curare was used. Explain yourself, Counsel. The moment this toxin enters the person's system, it causes instant paralysis. In other words, afflicted victims lose all strength and are completely unable to move. Even if they were in total agony, there would be no visible signs of pain at all. How terrible. Obviously, if a man lost all strength in his muscles, he'd collapse on the floor and or leave his hand on a burning plate. But with a chair under him for support, as Dr. Wilson did, the effects could go largely unnoticed. But I don't follow, Kazuma. That's just paralysis. I thought the poison caused instant death. The full explanation is extremely unpleasant. The poison causes immediate paralysis, as I said, leaving the victim unable to move. But after a short time, the paralysis is so severe, it causes the muscles that control respiration to fail. Respiration? In other words, the actual cause of death is suffocation. And all the while, the victim is conscious and aware, just unable to move. That's hideous! To the observer, it would look almost like the victim was slipping peacefully into an endless sleep. But for the victim himself, his final moments would be a living hell. That is the true nature of this deadly curare poison. And you're suggesting that this poison, this bottle, Counsel, actually contains this terrifying poison. This is very convenient, isn't it? Here throughout unknown poison for which there's no means of testing? What a happy tale for the defense. If I may. All these facts you think are so clever, but it is you who must be taught. Of course. Dear lady. So, this is how you Japanese behave, is it? What? You steal Nether's honest hard work and then announce the result as if you discovered them. I'm appalled. What a loathsome act. Well, Miss Brett, the feeling is mutual. Whatever do you mean? Capitalizing on the unfortunate circumstances of an innocent man to frame him for a heinous crime. That really is a loathsome act. Wouldn't you agree?
Objection!
Enough of this! I, for one, refuse to accept it. The idea of some poison that doesn't even exist in the great empire of Japan it is breaking the rules! What's so funny? Oh, excuse me. Your Excellency. Yes, Miss Brett. May I borrow that bottle for a moment, please? Well, yes, I don't see, why not? She's gonna down it and be like, oh, see, it's not there. Because she put it in the glass, which is why she took the glass. Don't get too big for your boots, you insignificant little island boys. Sorry? To an Englishwoman such as myself, this whole affair is a farcical comedy. Your little police games and these foolish courtroom antics, it's laughable, really. But I'm getting bored of it all now. It's time for the games to end. Cheers! She downs it. And she's fine, because there was no poison in the bottle. Wait! What are you doing? No sparkle left at all. How appropriate for this shabby affair. Because it was in the glass, which is why she took it. There'd be no reason to take a glass. Goodness. Whatever's the matter? You all look quite stunned. So, no curare. The bottle was clean, is that what you're saying? You look quite incredulous, little boy. But of course, that's the simple truth. Thank you for presenting the findings of my research so concisely here in this grand venue. Most kind. Thank you, waiter. Now then, Your Excellency? Yes, Miss Brett? I should like to be excused now, please. I think I've given more than enough of my time for the furtherance of friendship between our countries. Yes, dear lady. We're most gratified with all the assistance you have given. This doesn't make sense. There had to have been poison in that bottle. So how did she swallow a whole glass and live to tell the tale? I don't understand it. Well, I suppose if nothing else, this little Far Eastern charade will make for interesting conversation at the next party I attend in London. There has to have been poison in that bottle. Doesn't there? But there can't have been, because otherwise she would have keeled over dead. Come on, Ryunosuke. We have all the clues now. That bottle of water contains no poison. As I thought, there is no poison in that bottle. What? Why, Ryunosuke? Isn't it obvious? If there's poison there, she'd be dead by now. Sometimes your unadulterated naivete really astounds me. But sometimes it's in need of a good staining until it's as dark as your uniform in the ways of the world. Oh, is that what this color is supposed to represent? That was guileless ending of the promising line of... Wait, that was wrong? It's not in the fucking glass? The culprit did put Kurare poison into Dr. Wilson's carbonated water. The defense refuses to change its position. You're serious. Fool, are you blind? There's no possible way the bottle could contain poison. I mean, we just saw Miss Brett drinking the water from it. That's right. Which rather complicates your argument, I think. And I believe that complication can be explained. How exactly? I need to think through all the things that don't quite add up here, one by one. I'm sure the answer's in the evidence we have in the court records somewhere. It has to be. Very well. If the defense truly intends to assert this claim, then I must ask you to support the assertion with evidence. What explains how the witness was able to consume this supposedly poisoned water unscathed? Okay, so my original assumption was she took the glass because the glass was poisoned, so she took it because it was the only piece of evidence. Which could theoretically still be true, but I'm not sure how to link it back. Actually, give me 1 second. I'm going to quickly just pop my food in the oven and set a timer. Alright, set a timer for 12 minutes. Alright. Let me look through the notes again. Each time incapacitate their prey. Entire body soaked to death even in minute doses. Rudimentary, the above mentioned effects occur when the poison enters the bloodstream through a wound. Oh, so it has no effects when drank. Oh, well, I'm dumb.
Yes.
The answer to this riddle is right here in Miss Brett's own research report. It's not a valid explanation. That's not a valid explanation. No. After all, we don't speak English. That report is utter gibberish. This impudent young scoundrel is trying to ridicule the court, Your Excellency. I'm not trying to ridicule anyone, honest. I'm just reading Susato-san's notes. I concur. This report is too extensive to be considered in its entirety by the court. You will direct us to the pertinent section, counsel. What section of the report reveals the alleged answer to this riddle? What is it called? It is called... It's page 2. Special characteristics. We've been hearing a lot about this Kurare poison. And it's left me curious about something. Oh, counsel? Well, it sounds as though indigenous hunters have been using this poison for years and years to lace the heads of the arrows that they shoot at whatever prey they're hunting. So we've been led to believe, yes. And the point of hunting is to catch prey to eat. Get to the point, please. But if they were to use these laced arrows, does that mean they would have traces of poison left in the prey the hunters were going to eat? Yes, good point. So surely the hunters wouldn't want to eat their prey, would they? Because then they'd be eating poison. Good gracious, counsel. No, that would be madness. But I actually found the answer to that conundrum in this research paper here. Under special characteristics, it says this. The poison starts to work after entering the blood through a wound. Through a wound, you say? I see, that makes sense. Yes, the mention of that particular detail seemed a little strange to me, though. But it all makes sense when you interpret what's written like this. When Kurare enters the body through an open wound, it has terrifying poison effects. However, when it enters the body via the mouth, it has no poison effects whatsoever. What? Miss Brett, you authored this research. You know Kurari's special characteristics, and you knew that you could make a spectacle of drinking that water without any danger to yourself. You meddling little. Oh, we're in partial breakdown mode. Well, Ryunosuke, it turns out you're an even better lawyer than I thought you'd be. Really? Me? Of course it's real.
Objection!
All this poison talk is fascinating, I'm sure, but I failed. So, the ill-bred little puppy has a new toy to play with. Some facts he read in a book. But I'm afraid knowledge doesn't suit you, little boy. It only makes you look silly. What are you trying to say? Your schoolboyish logic has a fatal flaw. Schoolboyish? Flaw. As even your brain has managed to deduce Kurare is safe to ingest. Taking drinks. It seems likely its effects of are neutralized by the acidic nature of the gastric sucus. Oh, yeah, well, of course. Gastric suckers? What are those? So, if this lethal poison is completely harmless when drunk, the professor wouldn't have died when he swallowed it, would he? No, he would. He just had mouth surgery. He just had there's a tooth missing. That is a wound. That is an open wound, ya bitch. That's right. Good gracious. That's basic science. Science that even a schoolboy should have been able to understand, no? Order the call. Nice catch. You think I just talk about this game for fun? I know how to do this shit. Order in the court. The logic holds. If the lady and the professor drank the same poison, they would have been affected in the same way. Are you trying to suggest? Yes, this Kurare poison is completely irrelevant to the case on trial. That's right. Surely even a little cockroach like you can understand something as simple as that. What is this welling up inside me? I've never felt like this before. It's sort of a conviction to break down all the discrepancies. It's so intense, almost rage-like. He gonna shout objection in a second. And more than anything else, it's an animalistic desire to take down my prey.
Objection!
There we go! I don't think so, Miss Jessie L. Brett. How dare you use that tone with me? You know very well that there's no fatal flaw here. You know exactly why, even though both you and the victim swallowed the same poison. You are alive, but Dr. Wilson is dead. Counsel, I'm sure I don't need to remind you. You must provide compelling evidence. As we know that this poison is completely harmless when ingested. Why would Dr. Wilson alone have been killed by the Kurare? Now I don't want to inspect it.
Take that!
As Miss Brett so readily pointed out, she drank the same water as the professor. However, there was a fundamental and fatal difference between the two diners. A fatal difference? The toxic effects of Kurare are only felt when the poison enters the body through an open wound. So, for a healthy person with no injuries, drinking it is completely harmless. But what if there was a wound inside the mouth of the person drinking the poison water? Inside? Yes, like the wound you might have if you just had been to the dentist and had a tooth extracted, for example. Oh! Miss Brett, you've acknowledged many times in your testimony already that you were well aware of Dr. Wilson's dental appointment that day. So that's it. You use that knowledge to orchestrate this. Is she laughing? I don't like to repeat myself, but honestly, I can't resist. These childish courtroom games and your half-baked arguments are so puerile. What do you mean? Don't worry, little schoolboy. You'll find out soon enough. What the fuck? You see, when you leave vital evidence lying around, you never know what might happen to it. No, I mean, it could just slip. Oh dear, how careless of me. I'm afraid some crucial evidence may have just been tragically destroyed. No! It's the Englishwoman. She just smashed that bottle. And the Supreme Court. What a terrible blunder. Officer, what are you waiting for? Collect up as much of the water from that broken bottle as possible at once. You're wasting your time. This delightful carpet under my feet here was a gift from the British Empire. I assure you, it will soak up the water beautifully. And have neither the you have neither technology nor the presence of mind to recover it. How could you? You won't get away with this. You can thump the bench and shout as much as you like, little boy. But I'm afraid we'll never know now, will we? If there was really poison in the bottle or not. Oh, here's where her glass comes back into play. You. And let us not forget, we still have some very compelling evidence left intact. Isn't that right, counsel for the prosecution? Oh, of course, of course. Where's my timer at? Yeah, 2 minutes, okay. We're referring to this photographic print, I presume, dear lady. That's right, and really, looking at this photograph... Oh. It's as clear as day, isn't it? The poor professor was sitting with his back to me. So of course the only person who could have shot him from the front is the little schoolboy.
Objection!
No, you killed the victim that day, using curare, and then in order to frame Ryunosuke Naruhodo for the crime. You waited until he picked up the pistol you'd arranged for him to find on the floor, before you shot the professor dead in the chest with your own hidden gun. Then, in the confusion that followed, all you had to do was turn the dead professor and his chair around. You see, you had every opportunity to commit this crime. What a wonderful imagination you have, young man. A hidden gun, you say? And I shot the professor dead, did I? Well, I'm terribly sorry, but you don't have a shred of evidence. Exactly. And as you have nothing to support your wild claims, the prosecution's stance remains unchanged. The victim, Dr. Wilson, was killed by a gunshot to the chest. Delivered in cold blood by the accused, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. It's unbelievable.